And it didn't take long for President Trump to begin implementing his agenda and rolling back changes made by former President Joe Biden, some of which have major impacts to people here in Colorado.
Yeah, in just the last 10 minutes, Trump has signed several executive orders. We're still learning what signatures those includes, proclaiming there are only two genders. That's the first one he discussed.
As of today, it will henceforth be the official policy of the United States government that there are only two genders, male and female.
We'll welcome our viewers in on Channel 9 right now. You've been watching the network coverage. We've been on KTVD, but now we're all together on Channel 9. Marshall Zellner here, too, to talk a little bit more about these executive orders and what they actually do.
Right, as he signed them, they showed up on a White House website. So if anybody wants to look at them, just do a web search of White House and executive actions, and you can read that they're not very long, pretty much very simple to understand. The impact, though, is not so simple. He just signed some of those executive orders. At the most basic level, there is one that he talked about that would mean individuals must declare male or female, and that really, from a federal standpoint, only really impacts the U.S. passport, because you've been able to put X for another gender identity. That presumably would go away. State documents, however, in Colorado would not change. IDs and driver's licenses can currently say male, female, or X. Birth certificates can be changed to say male, female, intersex, or X. Those are documents that are state regulated and would not change because they're run by Colorado. So it's really from the federal standpoint that declaration, I think, rescinds an executive order from former President Joe Biden. Basically says we're just going to call people male, female, at least on federal documents. I know this is just one step toward one of the promises he made on the campaign trail about, one of them was getting men out of women's sports. So this kind of puts a spotlight on universities, I think, that may get federal funding. And this is where universities and athletic funding, that there's a muddy mix there. But if any university gets federal funding for athletics, then it becomes a question, will you allow someone who identifies as transgender on a sport, and could you put something at risk? All of this, again, day one, hard to understand the impact right away until we see how this legislation gets put in action.
Yeah, even an application to a university now, or to a dorm room.
Sure, yeah. Yeah,
I mean,
and it could be decisions made based on that university, or it's just like, whoa, if that's what the president's going to say, we're just going to allow male, female, and that's all we dictate. But again, in Colorado, there's been state law from 2019 that insulates Colorado, that allows some more protections for people who identify as transgender.
All right, Marshall, we know you have much more too coming up on next, so thank you so much.